She spotted the human ship on radar and froze, not just a legend. The Andromeda sector stretched around her like an endless ocean of stars, silent and calm, yet full of danger. For years, she had patrolled this area for the Zorvian Federation, scanning for rogue ships, pirates, or rare cosmic phenomena. Today, however, something unusual appeared, something that made her heart skip a beat. A small blip had appeared on her radar, moving faster than any known Zorvian vessel could travel. At first, she thought it was a glitch. No technology could reach such speeds, she told herself, trying to calm the excitement and fear building in her chest. But the blip persisted, and as she adjusted the instruments, she realized the impossible. The signature was human. Humans. They were supposed to be myths, stories told in hushed voices during council meetings, tales of a fragile species from the Sol system that had vanished centuries ago. Legends said they could survive impossible situations, explore the stars, and outsmart creatures much stronger than themselves. Most Zorvians laughed at these tales, calling them space fairy stories. But now the radar screamed the truth. Humans were real, and they were here. Zara leaned forward, her fingers hovering over the control panel. She felt a mix of excitement and fear. Her training told her to follow protocol, mark the target, report it immediately, and avoid contact until backup arrived. Yet something deeper urged her to act. The human ship was small, sleek, and fast, unlike any Zorvian craft she had ever seen. It moved with purpose, weaving through asteroid clusters and gravitational anomalies as if it understood the cosmos better than any map or computer. As she engaged the tracking system, strange signals began to appear on the comms. They were irregular, bursts of data she could not immediately decode. They weren't in Zorvian, not even close. Her brow furrowed as she tried to make sense of them. Then one phrase repeated again and again, emerging from the static. "We are coming." Her heart raced. What did it mean, coming to where? She considered reporting it immediately, but a quiet voice inside her mind told her to wait, to observe. This could be the first real proof of humans in the galaxy in centuries. Zara adjusted the sensors to scan the ship more closely. Its hull glimmered in the faint light of nearby stars, showing a strange energy signature that no known Zorvian technology could produce. The ship was not armed, at least she could see no weapons, but it was protected by a kind of field, shimmering and almost alive, that absorbed the energy of nearby space debris and cosmic radiation. Adaptive shielding, she whispered to herself. Humans had invented something extraordinary. Her thoughts were interrupted by a soft chime on the comms. A holographic display flickered to life, showing a figure inside the human ship, humanoid, small, and agile. They raised a hand in greeting, though Zara could not see any fear in their movements. The figure's posture radiated confidence, a calm she could not understand. She felt a shiver run down her spine. "Lieutenant Zara Kinth," the figure spoke, their voice clear and calm in galactic standard. "We mean no harm, we only seek knowledge and the chance to explore what belongs to all." Zara froze. No human had spoken in centuries, let alone communicated like this. Her mind raced with questions. How had they survived? How had they mastered the stars when the Federation believed them extinct? And most importantly, why had they appeared now? She took a deep breath and responded, keeping her voice steady despite the excitement in her chest. "This is Lieutenant Zara Kinth of the Zorvian Federation. Identify your mission and origin." There was a pause. Then the human replied, "We are explorers. Our home is Sol. We travel where others cannot, not to conquer, but to understand. If you wish, we can share knowledge." Zara stared at the figure, amazed. She had expected a primitive species, maybe a relic from the past, but this human radiated intelligence, courage, and curiosity. She realized in that moment that the legends had not done them justice. Humans were extraordinary, more than she had ever imagined. Her training kicked in. She activated the long-range sensors to gather more information about the human ship. The readings shocked her. The vessel moved with a speed that defied known physics. Its engines emitted energy in a pattern that adjusted in real time to obstacles, radiation fields, and gravitational anomalies. Unlike Zorvian ships, which required careful navigation and preset coordinates, the human ship seemed to think for itself, anticipating hazards before they even appeared. Zara could feel her pulse quicken. Humans were supposed to be weak, small, fragile. But here they were, proving every legend wrong, moving with intelligence, precision, and fearlessness. And yet there was no aggression, no weapons fired, No threatening maneuvers. They were explorers, as they claimed. Suddenly, the radar picked up a series of anomalies near a rogue planet on the edge of the system. The human ship had stopped near it, hovering in orbit as if studying the planet's surface. Zara adjusted her viewports and zoomed in. The planet was barren, rocky, and surrounded by a faint but dangerous radiation field. Most Zorvian ships avoided it completely, but the human ship hovered calmly, unaffected. Curiosity overcame caution. Zara knew she should report this immediately, but her instincts told her to observe. Slowly, she maneuvered Aurelia closer, keeping her distance yet trying to get a better view. The planet's surface revealed strange structures, ancient and crumbling, yet still intact. The humans were moving toward them, not with fear but with purpose. She saw them climb over rocks, analyzing strange devices, repairing what appeared to be ancient technology. Her mind raced with possibilities. Could humans understand technology that had been lost to the galaxy for centuries? Could they repair systems that even the Federation had abandoned? Zara felt a strange mix of awe and fear. If humans were capable of this, what else could they do? Her comms beeped again. The human ship transmitted a small holographic map of the rogue planet, highlighting a device at the surface that glowed faintly. It seemed to be a satellite, old but functional. The humans were attempting to reactivate it. The display showed a soft pulse of energy spreading outward, stabilizing the planet's radiation field. Zara realized the truth. Humans were not a threat. They were helping. In a way, they were showing the galaxy what it could be: intelligent, careful, and capable of cooperation. She felt her chest tighten. For years, her people had feared humans. They had dismissed them as myths, stories for children. But here, in front of her, humans were alive, capable, and noble. Her thoughts were interrupted by an alert. The Federation had detected the human signature. Warships were being dispatched to intercept. She faced a choice: follow orders and risk attacking these explorers, or defy protocol to protect them. Every instinct told her the humans were not dangerous, yet the weight of duty pressed down. Zara gripped the control panel tightly, her knuckles white. She had a decision to make that could change the course of history. One wrong move, and centuries of peaceful exploration could end. But one right move, and she could witness something the galaxy had never seen before: a human fleet that could inspire hope, ingenuity, and unity among the stars. She made her choice. With a deep breath, she activated the long-range sensors and started recording every movement of the human ship. She would not attack. Not yet. She would observe, learn, and understand. The human ship continued its work on the rogue planet, repairing the ancient satellite, glowing softly under the dim starlight. Zara watched in silence, realizing that she had stumbled upon the most important discovery of her life. Humans were not just myths. They were real, extraordinary, and perhaps the galaxy's greatest hope. And as the last light of the day faded across the asteroid fields, Zara whispered to herself, "Legends are real. And they are coming." Zara sat quietly in the command chair of the Aurelia, watching the human ship from a distance. Its movements were smooth and calculated, yet there was a grace in how it glided through the void. Every few moments, it would adjust its position, sending beams of soft blue energy toward the rogue planet below. From her vantage point, she could see tiny figures moving along the rocky surface, the humans themselves. She could hardly believe her eyes. Each figure was small compared to a Zorvian scout, yet they moved with confidence, almost as if gravity and danger were nothing more than minor suggestions. They climbed jagged rocks, carried strange tools, and gestured to each other in ways that suggested sophisticated teamwork. Zara had trained for years to lead exploration teams, but even she had never seen coordination like this. "Lieutenant Kinth," her communications officer said softly, "we are receiving more signals from the human ship." They are repeating the phrase, "We seek to understand." Should we respond? Zara shook her head slowly. "Not yet. Watch and listen. We need to know their intentions first." The human ship pulsed gently with energy, its hull glowing faintly in the darkness of space. Zara felt a strange mix of awe and apprehension. Legends had painted humans as weak, fragile creatures, but here they were, small beings accomplishing feats that her fleet could only dream of. They weren't using brute force. They were using skill, strategy, and intelligence. Suddenly, one of the humans raised a device toward the sky, and a beam of light shot upward, slicing through the darkness. Zara leaned forward. The light seemed to interact with the planet's atmosphere, creating a protective field around the surface. Radiation levels that had previously made the planet impossible to approach began to drop. "They're stabilizing the planet," she whispered, disbelief in her voice. "They're doing it intentionally." Her sensors beeped again, and the human ship transmitted another message. This time, it was a simple holographic projection, the map of the planet highlighting several key locations. Zara watched as tiny icons moved toward each point, interacting with strange devices that no Zorvian scientist could identify. "They're repairing something," she said. "Something old, very old." Her excitement grew, but so did her concern. If the Federation discovered this, they would assume the humans were a threat. Zorvians valued control and order above all, and a species capable of surviving the stars without permission would be seen as dangerous. Zara had to act carefully. Suddenly, the human ship moved in a way that surprised her. It broke orbit and hovered closer to her position. A beam of light extended toward the Aurelia, scanning her vessel. She held her breath, unsure what to expect. Then a voice came through clearly in galactic standard. "Lieutenant Zara Kinth, you are observing us. We do not intend harm. We only seek knowledge and understanding. Will you speak with us?" Zara's fingers hovered over the comms controls. This was it, the moment of first contact. She hesitated, remembering every warning she had ever received about humans, unpredictable, clever, capable of survival in ways no other species could. But the words were calm, almost inviting. Taking a deep breath, she responded. "This is Lieutenant Zara Kinth of the Zorvian Federation. I am willing to speak, but we are not alone in this sector. My fleet may arrive soon." The human ship's lights pulsed, as if acknowledging her words. "We are aware. We have traveled farther than your fleet can follow. We do not wish conflict, only cooperation." Zara leaned back, her mind racing. Cooperation with humans. The very thought seemed impossible just hours ago. She remembered the legends, humans who had survived entire solar collapses, humans who had outwitted predators far larger and stronger than themselves. Now, in front of her was proof that the legends were true. "Very well," she said finally. "We will communicate, but I must warn you, my people may not understand your intentions." The human ship responded with a soft hum. "We will take that risk. Understanding begins with trust." For the next few hours, Zara observed the humans from a distance. They moved with purpose, repairing the satellite and interacting with the planet's environment in ways that made her realize just how advanced they were, not in technology alone, but in thought, strategy, and cooperation. Each movement was precise, yet fluid. They worked as a team without needing direct orders, adapting to challenges as they arose. Zara couldn't help but admire them. For the first time in her career, she felt small, not because of weakness, but because she recognized the greatness in another species. The humans were not just surviving, they were thriving. And in that thriving, they were teaching a lesson about what life in the galaxy could truly be. But the calm did not last. Sensors detected multiple warp signatures approaching the system. Zorvian warships. "They're coming," Zara said, her voice tense. "Fleet ships, they must have detected the human signature too." Her heart sank. She knew what would happen if the fleet arrived. The humans would be perceived as a threat, and the Federation would move to capture or destroy them. But Zara had seen what these humans could do: outsmart, survive, and adapt. And more importantly, she knew they weren't violent. They only wanted to explore and repair what had been forgotten. She had to make a choice. Should she follow orders and report them as dangerous? Or should she protect them, even if it meant defying her superiors? Before she could decide, the human ship transmitted another message, urgent this time. "Lieutenant Kinth, Federation fleet approaching. We can outmaneuver them, but we need your help. Will you assist?" Zara's mind raced. This was unprecedented. No Zorvian had ever allied with humans before. The legends claimed humans were unpredictable, perhaps even dangerous. But the humans were asking for trust, and in her heart she knew they deserved it. "Yes," she whispered. "I will help." She activated the stealth systems on the Aurelia, aligning her ship with the human vessel. Together, they began a delicate dance through the asteroid fields surrounding the rogue planet. The human ship moved first, dodging massive rocks and radiation bursts with astonishing precision. Zara followed, learning their patterns, anticipating their movements. The Zorvian fleet appeared on her sensors, large, heavily armed ships designed for combat, not exploration. But the humans were not intimidated. Using speed, timing, and knowledge of the terrain, they led the fleet on a chase through narrow asteroid tunnels and unstable gravity wells. Each maneuver seemed impossible, yet each worked perfectly. Zara realized something profound. Humans were not just clever, they were creative problem solvers. Where Zorvians relied on strength and firepower, humans relied on thought, coordination, and adaptability. She couldn't help but feel awe and perhaps a little envy. Hours passed as the pursuit continued. The human ship never fired a weapon, never acted aggressively, yet they evaded capture with ease. Zara's respect for them grew with each passing moment. She began to understand why legends spoke of humans as more than a species, as a force, a symbol, a challenge to the limits of possibility. Finally, the human ship signaled her. "Lieutenant Kinth, follow us. We have a place where the fleet cannot reach. There you will see what we can truly do." Zara hesitated for a moment, then engaged the engines. Together, they disappeared into a cluster of dense asteroids. Sensors lost the fleet temporarily, unable to navigate the treacherous terrain. Zara glanced at the human vessel beside her, sleek and confident. They moved with a unity and precision that made her feel they were more than just explorers. They were pioneers, inventors, and teachers all in one. As they moved deeper into the asteroid field, she could see the humans setting up devices, strange instruments that emitted faint pulses of energy. Zara watched as these devices interacted with the environment, stabilizing gravitational anomalies and clearing dangerous debris paths. It was like watching a master artist at work, shaping the chaotic universe around them into something safe and navigable. Zara realized she had a choice to make. She could report the humans to the fleet, following orders, or she could join them, learning from their ingenuity and courage. Her heart knew the answer. Humans were extraordinary, perhaps the most extraordinary beings she had ever encountered. And she wanted to be part of what they were building, a future not ruled by fear, but by exploration, knowledge, and courage. Finally, she made her decision. She activated the comms to speak with the human captain. "I will assist you," she said firmly. "Show me where to go." The response came immediately, calm and confident. "Welcome, Lieutenant Kinth. You will see the galaxy in ways few have ever seen. And together we will show it what humans and their allies can achieve." Zara leaned back in her chair, a smile spreading across her face. She had taken the first step into something incredible. She didn't know what lay ahead, but she knew one thing. The legends were real, and humanity was more extraordinary than anyone had ever imagined. For the first time in her life, she felt hope that the galaxy could change, that civilizations could learn, and that the impossible could become reality. And as the human ship led her deeper into the uncharted asteroid field, she whispered to herself, This is only the beginning." Zara's hands gripped the controls of the Orlaia tightly as she followed the human ship deeper into the asteroid field. The floating rocks stretched endlessly around them, their jagged edges catching the distant light of dying stars. Every turn brought new dangers, sudden gravitational shifts, dense clusters of asteroids, and radiation pockets that could fry a ship's systems in seconds. Yet the human vessel moved with confidence, weaving through obstacles as if the stars themselves were guiding it. Zara had been trained to anticipate danger, to calculate probabilities, and to trust technology. But here she realized something extraordinary. The humans did not rely solely on machines. Their ship seemed almost alive, adjusting its course instinctively, predicting dangers before they became threats. It was unlike anything she had ever seen in the Federation fleets. "They're amazing," she whispered to herself. "How do they do this?" The human captain's voice came through the comms, calm and patient. "Lieutenant Kinth, observe. We have survived where others would fail, not by weapons, but by thought, cooperation, and courage. You will see the galaxy differently after this journey." Zara felt a thrill she hadn't experienced in years. This was no ordinary exploration. She was witnessing history, the truth behind the legends of humanity, and she was part of it. As they navigated the tightest passages of the asteroid field, the sensors on the Orlaia suddenly picked up a fleet of Zorvian warships approaching from the outer sector. The readings showed dozens of vessels, each bristling with weapons, shields fully charged, moving with calculated precision toward the rogue planet. "They're closing in fast," Zara said, her voice tense. "They've detected the human ship. We don't have time to hide." The human ship pulsed with energy as if acknowledging the threat. "Do not fear," the captain said. "We will handle them, you must trust us." Zara's pulse quickened. She had seen her people fight countless battles, relying on superior firepower and discipline. Yet the humans did not prepare weapons. Instead, they used the terrain, speed, and ingenuity. They darted between asteroids, using sudden bursts of energy to evade sensors and missiles. Every move was calculated yet fluid, a combination of instinct and intelligence that left Zara breathless. Hours passed as the pursuit unfolded. The Zorvian fleet fired warning shots, attempting to corner the human vessel, but every attack failed. The humans anticipated the moves, using the environment to their advantage, redirecting energy pulses from asteroids to shield themselves, and navigating in ways that Zorvian captains could not predict. Zara realized the truth. Humans did not rely on force, they relied on creativity. Their strength was in thinking differently, in finding solutions where others saw only obstacles. And that was why they had survived for centuries, hidden in myths and whispers. Finally, the human ship signaled her. "Lieutenant Kinth, follow me. There is a place where the fleet cannot reach, where we can act freely. There you will understand our purpose." Zara activated the Oralia's engines, matching the ship's velocity. They moved toward a massive cluster of asteroids, twisting and turning through gaps too small for the larger fleet ships. The humans navigated effortlessly, almost as if the void itself obeyed them. The Zorvian ships tried to follow, but one by one, they collided with hidden debris or were forced to retreat, unable to maneuver as quickly. Once they reached a small clearing, the human ship hovered above a hidden cave system within an asteroid. Strange energy devices glowed faintly along the walls, stabilizing the area and creating a safe zone. Zara watched as the humans exited their ship and moved into the cave with tools, carefully repairing a network of old machinery. This is incredible," she whispered. "What are they repairing?" The human captain approached the comms. "These devices were left long ago by civilizations that sought to explore the stars but did not survive. We restore what was lost, not for power, but for life, to make knowledge and energy accessible to all who can benefit." Zara felt a strange mixture of awe and guilt. Her fleet would have seen this as a threat, ready to destroy these explorers for doing what was right. Yet here was proof that humans acted with purpose and kindness, even in the face of danger. As she observed, Zara noticed something else. The humans were not just repairing technology. They were teaching it to respond to them, adjusting systems in ways that seemed almost intuitive. The satellite devices around the rogue planet began to emit pulses, stabilizing radiation fields and allowing vegetation to slowly reclaim areas that had been dead for centuries. "This is life," Zara murmured. "They're bringing life back where there was none." The human captain's voice came again, softer this time. "Lieutenant Kinth, humans are small and fragile compared to many species. But our greatest strength is our will, our ability to adapt, and our unity. We survive not through domination, but through cooperation and understanding." Zara felt a warmth spread through her chest. She had spent years in the Federation, trained to fight, to conquer, to follow orders without question. But here, she realized that strength could take many forms. Courage was not measured by weapons or numbers, but by heart, intelligence, and the willingness to protect what is valuable. Suddenly, an alert flashed on her dashboard. More Zorvian ships were arriving, faster this time, determined to intercept the human vessel. Zara's heart sank. The humans had already evaded them once, but the fleet had more ships and better coordination. She feared a confrontation might be unavoidable. The human captain transmitted instructions. "Lieutenant Kinth, we will not fight. Follow our lead and observe." "Trust what we can do." Zara nodded, gripping the controls tightly. She followed the humans as they moved through the cave system, outmaneuvering every attempt at interception. The humans were not violent, but they were clever, using energy pulses, stealth tactics, and the environment itself to remain unseen. Every maneuver impressed her more than the last. Hours turned into days as the chase continued. Zara began to understand the humans' true purpose. They were not hiding to avoid conflict. They were demonstrating something far more important. Their survival was not accidental. It was intentional, built on knowledge, skill, and the belief that life, knowledge, and hope should be preserved, no matter the risk. As they navigated through a massive cluster of asteroids, Zara finally asked the question that had been on her mind since first seeing them. "Why now? Why appear in our sector? Why risk detection?" The human captain's response was calm, almost gentle. Because the galaxy is changing, civilizations grow proud and forget what matters. Knowledge is lost. Resources are wasted. We appear not to conquer, but to guide, to show what is possible when intelligence and courage are combined. Humans are small, yes, but we survive by thinking differently, and it is time the galaxy remembered that. Zara felt a chill run down her spine. She realized that the humans were not just explorers. They were teachers, showing the galaxy the power of ingenuity, compassion, and unity. And she had a choice: continue following orders and report them, or join them and witness a new way of life. Before she could decide, one of the incoming Zorvian ships fired a warning shot near the asteroid cluster, shaking loose debris that threatened to collide with the human ship. Zara reacted instinctively, guiding the Aurelia to shield the humans, her actions saving them from a potentially fatal hit. The humans reacted immediately, adjusting their shields and energy pulses to stabilize the environment. Zara watched in awe as they neutralized the threat without firing a single weapon, without causing harm, and without panic. "It's incredible," she whispered. "They can survive anything, adapt to anything without violence." The human captain's voice came through. "Lieutenant Kinth's strength is not always measured in force. It is measured in creativity, courage, and the will to endure. You are learning. This is why we exist, to show that there is a better way." Zara's heart pounded. She had spent her life in fleets built for war, taught that fear and power were the greatest tools. Yet here, she saw a species that had survived for centuries using only intelligence, cooperation, and courage. She felt a spark of hope, hope that the galaxy could change, that humans could show the way, and that she could be part of it. As the day ended, the human ship pulsed softly in the distance, stabilizing the rogue planet systems and preparing for the next stage of their mission. Zara floated in silence, contemplating the choices ahead. She knew the fleet would not give up. They would return, stronger and more determined. But she also knew something else. Humans were extraordinary. Legends were real, and she had just witnessed the beginning of a story that could change everything. For the first time in her life, Lieutenant Zara Kinth felt that history was not just something she read about. It was something she could live, something she could shape. And the humans, small and seemingly fragile, were at the center of it. As the stars shimmered around her, she whispered again, more firmly this time, "Humans are real, and they are far stronger than anyone imagined." The calm of the asteroid field shattered with sudden alarms. Sensors aboard the Aurelia screamed the approach of the Zorvian fleet. Warships moved with deadly precision, their energy signatures bright and threatening. Zara's chest tightened. The humans were still nearby, stabilizing the rogue planet and repairing the ancient satellite, unaware of how close danger had come. "Lieutenant Kinth," her communications officer said, voice tense, "they're closing fast, you must act." Zara's hands moved quickly over the console. She sent a private transmission to the human captain. "The fleet is here, they'll attempt to intercept you. Prepare to move, I'll assist as best I can." A soft pulse of light from the human ship responded almost immediately. "Follow us, trust our methods." Zara's mind raced. She had trained for fleet combat, for tactical maneuvers and emergency evasions. Yet nothing in her experience prepared her for this. The human ship, small and seemingly fragile, moved with an intelligence that defied known calculations. It did not attack, but it was impossible to predict. It darted between massive asteroids, using sudden bursts of energy to slip past Zorvian sensors, leaving larger ships struggling to keep up. "Lieutenant," her officer said, disbelief clear in his voice, they're avoiding the fleet without weapons." "How?" Zara shook her head. "I don't know, but it works. Follow their lead." The chase began in earnest. The Zorvian fleet fired warning shots, attempting to disable the human vessel with energy pulses and force projections. But every attempt failed. The humans seemed to anticipate each move, using the environment itself as a shield. Asteroids were redirected, radiation pockets exploited, and energy fields pulsed to absorb attacks. They moved not with aggression, but with strategy and patience, turning danger into advantage. Zara watched, fascinated and awed. The human ship wasn't just surviving, it was teaching her a new way to perceive combat. Force and firepower were only part of the equation. Creativity, adaptation, and timing were equally, if not more, powerful. Hours passed. The fleet grew frustrated, their attacks becoming more erratic. They could not match the humans' speed, intuition, or adaptability. Zara's eyes widened as the humans executed maneuvers that should have been impossible, weaving through collapsing asteroid tunnels, slipping past gravity wells, and reappearing where the fleet least expected them. "They're brilliant," Zara muttered. "They think in ways we cannot." Finally, the human captain spoke through the comms, calm and commanding. "Lieutenant Kinth, it is time. We will lead the fleet into the Abyss cluster. There their size and firepower become weaknesses. Follow our instructions carefully." Zara nodded, heart-pounding. She engaged the Orlaya's engines and followed the human ship deeper into the cluster, a massive collection of dense asteroids, volatile energy currents, and unpredictable gravity wells. The Zorvian warships followed, but the narrow paths quickly worked against them. Larger vessels struggled to navigate while the humans moved freely, using the terrain as a tactical advantage. "Lieutenant," her officer said, voice tight, "the fleet is splitting. They can't follow us through these passages without risking collision. We have the upper hand." Zara allowed herself a small smile. The humans were teaching her the meaning of true strategy, survival without unnecessary violence. She realized that her people had relied too long on brute force, assuming power alone was enough. Humans proved that intelligence, creativity, and courage could achieve what firepower never could. The Zorvian fleet attempted to regroup, sending faster scout ships to flank the human vessel. But the humans were ready. Using energy pulses, temporary gravity distortions, and carefully timed maneuvers, they evaded every scout. Some scouts collided with asteroids, others were forced to retreat. Not a single human had fired a weapon, not a single life had been lost. Zara felt a surge of admiration. These were beings smaller and weaker than her people, yet they had turned the tables on an entire fleet, not by aggression, but by ingenuity. She realized that this was the essence of humanity. They survived because they thought differently, adapted instantly, and never panicked. Hours into the chase, the human ship led them to a massive open space within the asteroid cluster, a cavern of swirling energy fields and floating debris. Here, the humans began to set up stabilizing devices, similar to the ones on the rogue planet below. They emitted soft pulses of energy, creating safe zones and pathways while redirecting energy fields to neutralize attacks from the fleet. Zara observed closely. "They're creating a defensive system without weapons," she whispered. "It's like a living shield." The human captain's voice came through. "Lieutenant Kinth, observe and learn. Survival does not require violence. It requires courage, intelligence, and cooperation. The fleet believes they have power. They have numbers, but they lack imagination." As the Zorvian warships attempted to enter the cavern, energy pulses repelled them, forcing them into narrow paths where collisions were inevitable. One by one, the ships were neutralized, disabled by the environment rather than destroyed. The humans moved effortlessly among the chaos, repairing minor damage to their ship and ensuring the rogue planet's satellite systems remained functional. Zara felt a mixture of awe and exhilaration. She had served in fleets for years, yet she had never witnessed such efficiency, precision, and brilliance. Humans were not just survivors, they were teachers of a new kind of strategy, a strategy where brains and heart outweighed brute strength. "Lieutenant," her officer said, voice filled with wonder, "they've done it. The fleet is retreating." Zara nodded, feeling a sense of relief and pride. The humans had succeeded without firing a single shot in anger. They had survived an overwhelming force through ingenuity and courage alone. She realized that this was the core of the legends she had heard all her life. Humans were more than strong. They were exceptional, capable of turning impossible situations into triumphs through thought, cooperation, and creativity. The human captain transmitted a message, calm and reassuring. "Lieutenant Kinth, you have observed our methods. Remember them, the galaxy needs intelligence, courage, and unity more than power and fear." Zara could barely contain her excitement. "I will remember," she replied. "And I want to learn, I want to help." The humans responded with a soft pulse of light from their ship, almost like a nod. "Then you are ready. Together we can show the galaxy that strength is not measured in weapons, but in the will to survive and the courage to protect life." Zara felt a thrill she had never experienced before. For the first time, she understood the full meaning of the legends. Humans were small, fragile perhaps, but they were extraordinary in ways the galaxy had long forgotten. Their power was not in destruction, but in creation, in intelligence, ingenuity, and unity. As the day ended, the humans finished their preparations and began moving deeper into the cluster, preparing for the next phase of their mission. The rogue planet below glowed faintly, its unstable systems now stabilized thanks to their careful work. Energy fields pulsed softly, radiation levels normalized, and previously barren areas began to show signs of life. Zara floated in silence, overwhelmed by the scale of what she had witnessed. She had come to observe humans as a myth, a curiosity, but she had discovered something far greater, a species that could teach even the most advanced civilizations a lesson in courage, ingenuity, and cooperation. Her comms lit up again. The human captain's voice came, calm but firm. "Lieutenant Kinth, remember this moment. The galaxy underestimates humans at its peril. We survive because we are united, intelligent, and unafraid to act when others hesitate. Will you stand with us?" Zara took a deep breath and answered without hesitation. "Yes, I will stand with you." The pulse of the human ship glowed brighter, almost like a heartbeat. And for the first time, Zara felt that history was not something that happened in the past. It was happening now in this asteroid cluster through a species that had been underestimated for too long. The Zorvian fleet would return, that was certain, but Zara no longer feared them. She had seen what humans could do, and she knew that their ingenuity, courage, and unity could turn even the most impossible situations into triumph. For the first time in her life, she felt hope not just for herself, but for the galaxy. And as the human ship pulsed softly in the distance, preparing for the next stage of their mission, she whispered to herself, This is what legends are made of. Humans are real, and they are unstoppable." Zara watched the human ship glide through the asteroid cluster, its hull glowing faintly with energy as if the stars themselves recognized its presence. After days of pursuit, strategy, and astonishing displays of ingenuity, the humans were finally completing the mission they had begun on the rogue planet. The ancient satellite they had repaired pulsed steadily, its energy stabilizing the planet and beginning to spread outward. Where once there had been deadly radiation, barren rocks, and unstable zones, life now began to reclaim its place. Tiny spores, carried on faint cosmic winds, glimmered in the faint sunlight filtering through the asteroid gaps. Zara's heart swelled with awe. She had followed the humans expecting to witness myth. Instead, she had seen them defy legend, survive impossible odds, and achieve what no other species could. Their courage, intelligence, and teamwork were unmatched. She realized that the galaxy had underestimated humans not because they were weak, but because no one had truly observed their potential. "Lieutenant Kinth," her officer said quietly, "they've done it. The planet, it's alive again in a way. The systems are stable." "The readings are incredible," Zara nodded, staring at the sensors in disbelief. "They didn't just repair the satellite," she said. "They've healed the planet itself. This is beyond engineering. It's almost like creation." The human captain's voice came over the comms, calm but with a hint of pride. "Lieutenant Kinth, you have observed what humans can achieve when we act with knowledge, courage, and unity. This planet is just the beginning. The galaxy has forgotten what is possible, but we have not." Zara felt a deep respect for the humans. She thought of the Zorvian fleet that had pursued them, seeking to capture or destroy. Their technology, size, and power were formidable. Yet humans had shown that intelligence, creativity, and courage could overcome far greater forces. She realized something profound. Strength was not just measured in weapons or numbers, but in adaptability, unity, and the will to act when others hesitated. Suddenly, sensors detected multiple Zorvian warships approaching again, this time cautiously. The fleet had regrouped and was moving to assess the situation. Zara's chest tightened. She knew the humans were capable of evading them again, but she also knew that repeated confrontations could escalate into conflict if not handled carefully. "Lieutenant Kinth," the human captain said, "we will not fight. Observe, but do not interfere unless necessary." "The fleet may test their assumptions, but they will learn if they pay attention." Zara nodded. She understood the plan. The humans would not attack. Instead, they would demonstrate their ingenuity, patience, and problem-solving abilities. The Zorvians, guided by fear and protocol, would realize that humans were not a threat. They were something greater, a species that could inspire change and progress. The approaching fleet cautiously maneuvered closer, weapons raised but energy readings indicating no immediate aggression. Zara felt tension rise in the pit of her stomach, but she also felt hope. Humans had turned impossible situations into triumph before. She knew they would do so again. The humans moved gracefully through the asteroid field, creating temporary energy corridors that allowed their ship to move without interference while subtly guiding the Zorvian fleet toward natural obstacles. One by one, scout ships collided with small asteroids or were forced to retreat from unstable gravity wells. Larger vessels were slowed, unable to adjust quickly to the unpredictable environment. Zara's mind raced with admiration. Humans were not just surviving. They were teaching. Every maneuver, every calculated risk, every gentle adjustment of energy fields was a lesson in intelligence, cooperation, and courage. She realized that the legends were not myths, they were warnings and guidance. Humans were real, and they represented something the galaxy had forgotten, the power of ingenuity and unity. Hours passed as the humans led the Zorvian fleet through complex navigational challenges. Zara noted each adjustment, each tactic, learning from them. She realized that this was more than survival. The humans were showing that even overwhelming forces could be neutralized not with aggression, but with cleverness and cooperation. Finally, the fleet withdrew, their ships damaged and humbled by the humans' strategic brilliance. Zara watched as the human ship hovered above the rogue planet, energy pulses stabilizing its environment, the satellite fully operational. The humans had achieved the impossible. They had survived, preserved life, and demonstrated their strength without firing a single weapon in anger. Zara felt a deep warmth in her chest. She realized the full scope of what she had witnessed. Humans were extraordinary not because they were the strongest or the fastest, but because they represented something the galaxy had lost: courage, ingenuity, and hope. The human captain transmitted one final message. "Lieutenant Kinth, you have observed what humans can do. Remember it, teach it, and when the galaxy underestimates us again, you will know the truth. Intelligence, courage, and unity can overcome any obstacle." Zara responded, her voice steady with conviction. "I will remember, and I will share what I have seen. Humans are not myths. They are real and they are remarkable." The human ship pulsed with energy, as if acknowledging her words. Zara felt a sense of awe she had never experienced before. She had started this mission expecting myth, but she had found something far greater: living proof that the impossible could be achieved through thought, courage, and cooperation. As the rogue planet stabilized and signs of life began to spread across its surface, Zara realized that the human mission was complete, yet it was only the beginning. Humans had shown the galaxy a new way, a way where creativity, courage, and unity mattered more than brute force. Zara turned her sensors back to the human ship. It glowed faintly in the distance, moving gracefully through the asteroid cluster, preparing to depart for new worlds and new challenges. She felt a mixture of sadness and hope. She would miss the humans' presence, but she knew they would continue their work elsewhere, teaching the galaxy the power of ingenuity and courage. She reflected on her journey. She had arrived expecting to witness a myth. Instead, she had seen legend made real. Humans were clever, courageous, and united. They had survived impossible odds, outsmarted a powerful fleet, and preserved life where none had thought possible. She realized that the galaxy would never be the same again. Zara knew she had a role to play. She would return to the Federation and share her experiences. She would tell the truth about humans, not as a threat, but as inspiration. She would remind her people that strength was not only in firepower, but in intelligence, cooperation, and the courage to act when others hesitated. As the stars twinkled around her, she felt a quiet determination. The humans had shown the way, but it was up to others to follow. She would stand as an ally, a witness, and a messenger, ensuring that the lessons she had learned would not be forgotten. The human ship pulsed once more, signaling departure. It moved smoothly into the void, faster than anything Zara had ever seen, vanishing among the stars. She watched until it was gone, leaving only the stabilized planet and the glowing satellite as proof of their visit. Zara exhaled deeply, a smile spreading across her face. She had witnessed the impossible. She had seen humanity, clever, courageous, and united. And she knew the legends were just the beginning. The rogue planet below shimmered softly as life slowly returned, the satellite's pulses sending clean energy outward. Zara realized that humans were not just survivors. They were healers, teachers, and pioneers. And she was privileged to have witnessed their greatness. As she prepared the Aurelia to depart and return to Federation space, Zara whispered to herself, a promise carried on the quiet hum of the ship's engines. The galaxy has underestimated humans for too long, and now it will never forget. Not as myth, not as legend, but as reality. And with that, the first chapter of a new era began, an era where humans, small but extraordinary, would inspire hope, ingenuity, and courage across the stars. Zara's heart swelled with pride and anticipation. She had seen what few others had, proof that the galaxy's myths were real, and that humanity's greatest strength was its ability to unite, adapt, and persevere. She knew the future would be uncertain, but she also knew one thing for certain. Humans were extraordinary, and their story had only just begun. And as she stared into the endless stars, she whispered one last time, "The legends are real, and humanity will lead the way."